Then you have the case of this wise guy, Jesse Smollett, who beat up himself.
I got a question for you. What's the quickest way to Turnpike? What's that?
Route 1?
Yeah, Route 1. Route 1, this way or that way?
It's both ways. So you go by Ben Salem.
Ben Salem?
And you can go by 295, 67.
Right.
295 north.
All right.
67.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, boss.
And he said MAGA country did it, MAGA country. Okay? He said MAGA, it's a hate crime. It's a hate crime. And it's a scam. It's a real big scam, just like the impeachment of your president is a scam.
Impeach 45. Impeach 45. Impeach 45. Don't forget who he is. He's shown us what kind of human being he is, and he is not going to change. Ladies and gentlemen, my millennials, stay woke.
And then you look what's going on. Smollett is still trying to get away with it.
Well, I'm outraged. I think that to see anyone attacked in a hate crime like this is an outrage. And for Josie, who's not only a superb actor and singer, but an activist who has fought against homophobia and racism and sexism, to be a victim is something that is totally unacceptable.
Would have been better off if he paid his $100,000 bill. Chicago is unfortunately the worst sanctuary city in America. Chicago protects criminals at a level few could even imagine. Just a few weeks ago, near Seattle, Washington, a county jail released an illegal alien MS-13 gang member, the worst, who they previously refused to hand over to ICE. And by the way, ICE, they're heroes, they're patriots, they're tough, they're strong, they're great. Who would do that job? Who would do that job? These are warriors, and they love our country, by the way. This man went on to murder a 16-year-old boy with a baseball bat who didn't do anything.
Immigration officials say several people now jailed for murder in Baltimore County are members of the brutal MS-13 gang, and they are in the country illegally. The gang certainly has a stronghold in several parts of Maryland, including Anne Arundel County. WJZ investigator Mike Helgren, he is live at police headquarters there. He has more on what's driving the violence. Mike.
Rick, they have cracked down here and tried to improve communication about known gang members. Now, MS-13 is doing more recruiting this year. After laying low following a series of high-profile murders, things are heating up again. 6 of the 7 people arrested this month for a murder earlier this summer in Towson are members of the violent street gang MS-13 and are in the country illegally, according to Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. The agency also says the suspects are part of a federal gang database.
You have other street gangs in the state of Maryland. It's violence-wise, MS-13 is probably the most violent.
The county touted state grants worth more than $500,000 to combat gangs. The then county executive estimated there are 200 MS-13 members living in the county, and they arrested 70 in the prior 3 years.
A young child who was on his way to a beautiful future. He didn't do anything. Murdered him with a bat. Last year, on the day after Christmas, America grieved when California police officer Ron L. Singh was murdered by a criminal alien, a known gang member, a tough guy with 2 prior arrests for bad things, who was released due to sanctuary city laws. Not one more American life should be stolen from us because a politician puts criminal aliens before American citizens. Since Eddie Johnson has been police chief, more than 1,500 people have been murdered in Chicago, and 13,067 people have been shot.
Corey Morgan stated that since his brother was killed and his mother had been shot, he was going to kill grandmas, mothers, and children. Another uncharged co-defendant were all members of the Black Peace Stones. At one point, Doty set up a surveillance of Tyshawn's grandmother, so he could kill her in order to draw out rival gang members. He also stated that his original plan was to torture this child by kidnapping and cutting off his fingers and his ears.
The man accused of luring a 9-year-old boy to his death in Chicago is now behind bars. Ray Morgan has been charged with first-degree murder in the execution-style shooting of Tyshawn Lee. Lee was killed earlier this month in an alley near his grandmother's house. Investigators say that Lee was caught in the middle of a gang rivalry, and today police vowed to go after both gangs.
They're going to be obliterated. That gang just signed its own death warrant.
During the first weekend of August 2019, 7 people were murdered and 52 were wounded in 32 shootings in Chicago. And recently they had 78 shootings over a weekend spree. 3 people killed. And Chicago has the toughest gun laws in the United States. It doesn't seem to be working too well, does it?
I don't have any information yet on prior deportations. I simply want to focus on the fact that this is a criminal illegal alien with prior criminal activity that should have been reported to ICE. We were prohibited, law enforcement was prohibited because of sanctuary laws, and that led to the encounter with Officer Singh. I'm suggesting that the outcome could have been different if law enforcement wasn't restricted, prohibited, or had their hands tied because of political interference.
Sheriff, can you clarify that, though? So you're saying that he was previously released after a DUI arrest?
Twice.
And had he been deported, this wouldn't have happened?
Potentially. If he wasn't here, then he wouldn't have been driving drunk, and it wouldn't have been reported to Officer Singh, and the encounter, the stop, the enforcement stop, potentially never would have occurred. My point is, why are we providing sanctuary for criminals, gang members? It's a conversation we need to have.
We've been watching officials and family members speak out in an emotional press conference about the killing of a California police officer earlier this week. Investigators say that they have arrested a suspect. 2 others who are accused him of helping him.